And we are the Digi-Dudes!
The paint got you.
Alright guys, so this week we're doing another custom device. It's been a long time since we've done one on the channel, so it's overdue. Right, Debbie Dude?
Yep.
Alright, so the whole reason we're doing this is because I bought this silver paint and I painted my DMX here. This is an English one. And I'm not happy with the way the paint looks. If you put this angle, you can see all these smudge marks all over it and streaks on it. The paint itself wasn't good, this silver one. But I really want to be able to have both English DMXs and use one that I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one apart. I'm going to use the frame and the buttons from here and the board. And I'm going to be painting this 20th here. And then using the shell from this. And Debbie Dude wants the frame and the buttons for his custom device over here, which he's already done a custom swap. This is the 20th here, and he's already done custom swaps with the buttons and the frame, but he wants to paint it now and then put the orange buttons and frame on it. Right, Debbie Dude?
Yep.
Alright, so another reason we're doing this as an episode is because I wanted to show everybody that the DMX English and the 20th English here, DM 20th, are interchangeable on parts. This one right here is just straight DMX one. The English one, just repainted is all I did on this. Is just try to experiment with the paint that I saw online and bought. While this is a brand new 20th. And like I said, we're going to show you guys that you can easily swap parts back and forth between both English devices without any issues. So,
brand new because you got like 1,000 20ths, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the 20ths.
Daddy did buy a few cases of the 20ths because they were on sale at one point. I was able to find them for pretty cheap and bought a few cases just for modding and making customs with. And this is one of them. But it is a brand new device because it's never been opened. I actually cut the tape already for the video to make it easier. But as always, if you're a little dude...
to open the register.
Oh, but as always, if you're a little dude, have a grown-up or an adult handle anything sharp like scissors or knives for opening the packages. Alright, so let's get this open and we'll start taking them apart so then we can show you guys how to paint them the Digi-Dudes way.
Also, how to beat up devices without beating them up.
Alright, rip the tab out. Starts up, that's always a good sign. I really love the blue shell, the translucent blue here, and that's why I want to use it.
And also,
I think it
you're
looks
gonna
really
paint
cool.
the X on it.
I will end up painting an X on it, and we'll show you guys exactly how I plan on doing that. Because I plan on doing something a little different and cool, in my opinion. Let's pop the battery out.
Then you'll kill it.
We're not using it right now.
Killed it.
There we go. Alright, so we're just going to real time this, show you exactly how I break down a device. Let's take the screws out. They don't have to come completely out. You can leave them in the shell a little bit for now, just long as they're completely loosened. It can be a little tough to do it because the screws are glued in. They put a little bit of glue. This one's a little tough. So I don't want to accidentally strip it, so I'm going to do this one off the camera there. So make sure I get a good connection. There we go. All right. Now, oh, we got one screw that's not completely out yet. There we go. And then, as you guys saw there, the chain just popped right off. It just sits on this, oops, sits on that peg right there. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take this and just tap out the screws there.
It's like doing a surgery.
It is. It's doing a Digimon surgery, Debbie Dude. That is the best way to do it. All right, I got one stubborn screw here that doesn't want to come out.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, you can hold that. As you can see here, oh, hold on, Debbie Dude. Pull that away, yeah. As you can see here, that white residue on the end, that's the glue I'm talking about. This one actually has a lot of glue in particular. Not all of them do. Keep all your screws off to the side and keep them organized.
Dad, there's more screws. We need
Yep.
to get them.
Absolutely, Debbie Dude. So now the next one we're going to do is the screw here on the back case.
Don't I have it?
And what I recommend is putting your thumb here like this and creating a little bit of pressure, because this screw does not want to come out a little bit, so because it's not made to come out. It's made to actually stay in so you don't lose it when you change the batteries.
Daddy, this thing can't turn on.
No, it's not. It can't turn on. The batteries are out of it. All right, another thing you got to be careful of is this little nut right here. There we go. Get the focus on camera.
I don't think
There
that's
we
a
go.
nut. I'm pretty
There's
sure
a little-
that's a bolt.
It's a nut, buddy. So there's a little nut right there. Just be careful not to lose that. That can pop out, but it doesn't happen often. All right, and now we got the board here. So let's just take out, we're going to take this screw, that one, and that one, and the board will pretty much just come right out then.
Can I
Be
screw
careful
one?
not to lose them. You're going to do yours, Debbie Dude. And then that one there. I recommend using a magnetic screwdriver just so you don't lose screws. You don't have to, but it does make it a lot easier not to lose them.
Yeah, because they all just attach right on.
Yep, these ones are also glued in. It's a little hard to see there. A little bit of glue residue on the tips, but they're not nearly as bad as the ones in the backs because those aren't made to come out at all, really. All right. And then I recommend just grabbing by the speaker just because it's a little easier to hold it, and just pull it out gently, because the screen here is just set into place. It's held in by pressure currently, but it can just pop out, and it's just kind of a little annoying to get it back in place the right
Can I see
way.
the shell? Can I hold it?
Yeah, buddy. Here. Oh, hold on. Actually, I want to show them something before I let you take it. And then you just want to pop this part out gently here. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit around the connections, because we're going to want to paint that too. And now the board is completely removed. Put that off to the side. Again, keeping your screws off to the side there, nice and neat. And then in order to remove the frame here, what we're going to do is we're just going to take our screwdriver and push these clips in. And then you hear it pop. I don't know if you guys, oh, there's a good pop. I don't know if you guys heard it on camera, but you hear a little pop. Frame comes right out, and the buttons just come right out on their own. Easy, broken down.
Ooh, that's
It's
the
only-
buttons!
That's all it takes right there. Whole device broken down,
Wait,
brand
what's
new
that?
one out of the package.
Why is there 1, 2, 3,
Because there's the
buttons?
A, B, C button, buddy, and then the reset button.
Is this
That's
the
why.
reset button?
Yep, this little one's the reset button, the one that goes in there to start your device over if you need to.
I don't.
All right, so what we're actually going...
Yeah.
It's a little hard to see. So what we're actually going to be painting is we're going to be painting this part, this little top part, and the back here is what we're going to be painting on mine. And I highly recommend taking this part out and painting it, because it will look different if you don't. And you want the details. Everything's about details with these types of things to make it look as best as possible. All right, guys. So we're going to break down Digi-Dudes' device off camera. I'm going to break down this one off camera. We'll get back to you guys and show you how we're all set up for painting. And we'll be back in just a sec for you guys.
Okay. Behold, we've taken apart them.
We've finished taking apart all the devices. We have them set up over here and ready for paint. There's a couple things I want to mention to you guys before we get to the actual painting step. Number one is I put all of mine on these little alligator clamps on sticks. We can see them here. They're just a little clamp, and it's glued onto a long stick. It makes it a lot easier for painting, where you can hold something from a distance and spray it away from your hand a bit, so that way your hand's not getting in the way, or you're not leaving it on a completely flat surface and not getting all the edges and everything, because you want to, again, details. Details are going to make your device look amazing, and be able to paint all the ways around the whole thing is going to get all your coverage you're going to want. Another thing I want to mention is that I taped off the back part of the battery case here on both of ours. All I used was painter's tape. I like frog tape. It just works really well as a painter's tape.
Also,
out of all the brands.
Also, you like frogs, and it's frog tape, and and there's a frog on the cover, and frogs use it a lot, and frogs sometimes want to bite it.
Yes, frogs. It's made by frogs, for frogs, and all about frogs. So,
Yes,
I like it. It works really well. But the reason we tape off the battery case like that is because if you get too much paint built up in that area there, the back cover isn't going to want to sit flush and sit nicely again. Once again, we're going to be going back there a lot, talking about the details. The details is what's going to make your device look amazing and take it from amateur level to this is a beautiful custom device right here. And that's what I want for you guys. So I'm teaching you and telling you all the steps and tricks that I've learned over the years of modding and custom devices on how to make it look as best as possible for you. This setup I have here is nothing fancy, trust me. This is a common setup used for modeling, but mine is just a high density foam, some dowels, and alligator clamps. I didn't buy any crazy fancy setup or anything. As you can see here, anybody can make this at home with basic things from their hardware, from any hardware store. All right, so now that we're all set up here, peg them in so they have nice spots to dry when we're done painting. And again, each one's on their own clamp. Each one has, like, you can see it on the back of the devices, but there's always like a good chunky spot where you can clamp onto. There. I don't suggest using big clamps. This is bigger than I personally like, but they were out of the super tiny ones when I was buying all my supplies, and I went with a couple of the bigger ones, which I like to use, like this one when I do use it. I like to use it for the back and the fronts just because they have larger spots to grab onto. Alright guys, so now we're going to take all this outside and we're going to start painting, and I'll show you guys how exactly I paint and the different techniques that we're going to be using to go through and make these devices. This is going to take time. This isn't a fast one-time done job. This is going to be layers and processes here, guys. So stay tuned, keep on watching, and for you guys it's going to be a second. For us it's going to be a few minutes. Alright guys, we're all set up. We're outside. We have our paints ready. Digi-Dude is going to be going with, oh, there we are, this gold color here and this red color here for his, and I'm going to be going with a black. And you guys are going to see what's going to happen with our layering techniques when we're all said and done. So let's get started with the painting. Digi-Dude's going to paint his, I'm going to paint mine, and you guys are going to hang out and watch. We'll be back with details in a second. Alright guys, one little pro tip. I highly recommend putting on a pair of gloves so you do not cover your entire hand in paint. And make sure you take off your VBs so they're not covered in spray off, because spray off is a real thing, guys. You'll have little spots all over your VB. All right, so we're just going to go nice, smooth coats. This paint here is really junky. I'm using. This is not a good paint, but it's going to work fine for what I'm doing here. And you guys will see that in a second, what's going to happen and why it's okay. So for me, you just got a nice layer on there. This one's nice and thick on there, but that's okay. That doesn't matter for what we're going to be doing next. Alright, so now we've finished painting our devices here, and then I'm going to go and show you the techniques that I like to use to give them those kind of dirty, grungy looking styles that you guys know from us and that we like a lot. Right, Digi-Dude?
Yeah.
Kind of make them look dark and, was it, gritty?
Evil.
Yeah. Alright, so Digi-Dude did run into a snag with his. He got a little overzealous and he didn't wait for Daddy's help, and he overpainted. And as you can see here, it's a lot of bubbling. We're got a bunch of paint over top of the connection piece here. So Digi-Dudes was a little too much, a little past saving is what's happened. And then I happened to run out of red paint in the middle of trying to help him, trying to save his. So what we did instead is I ended up giving him a shell that I had already finished. So Digi-Dude had a cool custom still. And we're just going to do the same.
And it kind of looks like Carnage.
It does. But we're going to look at that in just a sec. It is the same technique I was going to use with Digi-Dude on his. It's just a different color scheme that he originally wanted, but he still likes it a lot. Right, Digi-Dude?
Yeah, because it looks like Carnage.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to look at that one first before we get into mine. And all the time I get asked what paints I like to use. And honestly, I like to use a good modeling enamel because it gives a nice strong coat if you use the enamel ones. So really it's your personal preference on what works the best for you and what you like the most, but I recommend sticking with an enamel. So this is what we ended up going with for Digi-Dudes. I had already had the buttons, the red button and frame picked out for this one. But this is the style we ended up going with. The Digi-Dude out of the pre-made ones I had already had done that he liked and picked out. And honestly, I think that's going to look really cool all together. Let's take a look at the back now. There we go. And then, as you can see on this one, I didn't tape it off. It still works. There's not too much buildup or anything in there. It's not bad. But if you tape it off, it's just a little bit better. And everything just kind of sits better. And like I said, you don't need to paint every edge on the lids, because once it sits and it's in, the only thing you're going to see is that bottom edge there. You don't see the rest of them. Alright, so in order to do this technique, what we do is we completely paint your bottom coat, whatever color you want to be your main focus color. As you can see here, this was originally a gray device. So for this one, I used red as my bottom coat to be what I call the main color. And then what you do is you completely paint that on, let that set and dry first, and then you select your top coat color or your secondary color, and you grab some newspaper or newsprint. That's all this is just newsprint. It's the same type of paper that newspaper is made out of. So, and then you just ball it up. Make sure you get some creases in there, because that's where your texture is gonna come from. Get those nice creases in there, and then you paint on your secondary color. You let it sit just for a second or so it starts to dry and settle, and then you just dab is all you do. And then once you get a lot of paint on one side, just move to another side, fold it over, whatever, grab another sheet, ball it up, and just dab it off until you get to a level that you like it, where it looks to something you enjoy, and that's all you do with this. It's actually a really simple technique. So that's how we did that one. And then for mine, we're gonna do a different technique, another simple and easy technique like this that gives you a lot of depth and dimension to your devices. So we're gonna pull mine off. As you can see here, I didn't do the most spectacular job painting it, because I don't have to with this technique I'm gonna be doing.
It's only black.
Yeah, but you can still see a lot of the blue in it. And I didn't get in all the spots. And again, that doesn't really matter, because you're about to see what I do for mine, which is a completely separate technique and gives a really cool and different design for it. This one, you want to get that bottom coat nice and even and smooth, like I said, because you really want a good coverage. But that top coat, it doesn't have to be spectacular, because again, you're going to take that newspaper or newsprint and you're going to dab off some of the color off of there. For this one, you're going to need isopropylene alcohol or rubbing alcohol. They're both the same exact thing. And then a bunch of paper towels is what you're going to need. And this one is just a simple and easy technique. Just take some paper towels, fold it up a bit. Don't lose your parts, Digi-Dude.
Don't worry, I didn't lose any.
All right. Oh, and when you do this, again, make sure you do the top little part where the connection is, just so everything looks nice and even there. It's hard to get it to focus right now. There we go. But even the little details like that. Again, the details is what's going to make this. I've been saying it a lot in this video. But just fold it over. And then just take your rubbing alcohol. Dump a bunch on.
And rubber.
Yep. And just rub it off. In the beginning, it's going to take a little bit of work to get the rubbing alcohol to start penetrating into the paint there. But you can see here, it's already starting. And then once you get it going, you can just keep on working it around. And then from here, you just go until you like it. And then once it gets a bunch of paint in here and the paper towel gets kind of ripped up, because that will happen as it catches on the edges and stuff, just change it. Just fold it over. Put some more rubbing alcohol on there. And then just keep on going. Make sure, though, you do rub off any excess rubbing alcohol on it when you get to the point where you're done. Because if you don't, it'll keep on eating down into the paint and it'll change your look on you. So when you're all done, just make sure you do that at the very end. So we're going to keep on going with that, and I'll show you as we go to see what it looks like there. Sorry guys if I'm sweating a lot. We're going through a heat wave here in New York where we live, and it's been close to 100 degrees, or if not 100 every day. And here in the Digi-Den, I can't run any fans right while we're recording, or you guys won't be able to hear us talk. Alright, so we're going to get to that, and you guys will see the final step when we're done. guys, we have finished. As you just saw there, I went and removed the extra layers of paint to the point where I liked it. We clear coated. You saw me paint on the X, and we're going to go over all that right now. And we're going to also do the final reveal where you guys get to see what they both look like all done. Right, Debbie Dude?
Yep.
Little weirdo. All right. So, a few things starting before we get into the final reveal is you guys saw me use a paint pen there to draw the X on the device. I want to let you guys know that that paint pen is an oil-based paint. So, and then the spray cans there are acrylic enamels. So, I want to let you guys know, you can go oil on top of acrylic like I did, but you cannot go acrylic on top of oil. The paints don't mix well then, and it's going to look really junky and really bad. So like I said, you can use an acrylic spray can like I did, and then go back on top of that with the paint markers and use an oil-based one, because that's the most common one you're going to find in the stores is an oil-based. It's kind of hard to find an acrylic-based paint marker, at least in the decent brands. So keep that in mind when you do it. And then the other thing is, I like to use the Mr. Hobby top coats for mine, because they're an they're an enamel-based. They're not a water-based like some of the other ones that clear coats and top coats that there are. So this is the one that I really like to use. We'll have a nice close-up here. Actually, instead of showing that, I'll have the whole line of them up here. There's a gloss, a flat, and then a semi-gloss. This is the gloss, because I really wanted that nice high shine for these devices to really make those colors stand out and pop. But if you're doing more muted colors and stuff, that flat would probably be better. Or if you don't want it to be as shiny as this, again, you can go with that semi-gloss. But I really recommend it, and I personally like to use the Mr. Hobby top coats. Because, again, they're an enamel, and they hold up and protect your artwork even better. And especially if you're a dude like Debbie Dude, and you're a little rough on your devices. I'm rough on my devices, too. So don't get me wrong. But if you're a little guy, you definitely want something stronger, because you take them out, you run around, you play with them more. All right, so now that we've talked about the processes and everything I wanted you guys to know about making them there, let's show them off. Final reveal. All right, Debbie Dude, we'll start with yours. And what have you named this device here?
The Carnage device.
This shell, as we showed up before, I made before, and Debbie Dude's kind of messed up, but he was going a similar theme here anyway. He was going to go with red and gold originally, but he liked red and black, and it does have a real Carnage feel to it, and that's why he named it that. Are you happy with this overall?
Yes.
I know you wanted to make your own, but you're happy with the one Daddy made already?
Yes.
You like it?
Yes.
Good. All right, now let's show off mine. And again, this is the English X1 here. You see the X I drew back on to it. And I'm really happy with how this turned out with that kind of... I wanted to keep the translucent look of the shell because I really, like I said, I like the translucent blue going on with it. But I wanted to have those black highlights in there and really give it that dark and dirty kind of grunge look to it. And you keep on seeing these reds show through. It's because the board itself is a red board for the English DMX Red X1. And that's what this is. So I end up having both versions of the English, a custom and the alternate color now. And show it off. Screen works and everything. Didn't screw it up. All right, guys. So what I want to know from you now is that I want to know if you like these. If you guys like how this turned out, if you like the techniques I use, please make sure you giggle blast that like button.
And touch the real subscribe down below. I'm tired.
It's a little early here because Debbie Dude and I got a bunch of stuff to do today. But, so, I do want to know from you guys down in the comments if you guys like these techniques, if you've seen one of our older videos, because it's been a long time since we've done it, and you've used these techniques, or if our other videos have helped you in the past, or watching this one has helped you now with a project you're going to be going forward with. Please let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys, and I love knowing that I was able to help you guys with your Digimon and your Digimon journeys. All right, as always, special thank you to our Patreon supporters. These guys over here, They are the best. Without them, I wouldn't be able to continue to do videos like this and bring new products and things to show off in different techniques, because they helped bring the channel further. All right, and if you guys want to help support the channel also, please go check out our Patreon. There's a link in the description down there in the bottom. It helps us out a ton, as like I said. And from there, as always, from me, my family, to you, have a Digitastic day!
Peace.